Hey guys, welcome back to Furniture Flipping Teacher. It's Lauren here. If you're new here, I am a full-time kindergarten teacher who flips furniture to pay off my student loan. So welcome. I am actually here at a person's house that is giving away this dresser for free. I got notified of this dresser by a follower of mine on Instagram that actually lives in the same area. So thank you to Demetria for sending me this dresser and for contacting the guy and for just keeping an eye out for me. I can't wait. This is in great shape. All the drawers work nicely. So we're gonna get it loaded up and bring it home to get started. All right, so we made it home. Here is the piece. I'm actually grabbed my sander and getting ready to sand the top. I'm planning on doing chalk paint, but since the top is a little bit scuffed up, I want to make sure to get all that smoothed out. And I have some awesome news because one of my favorite things to do is to match furniture that I find in different places to make it into a set. And right back here we got 2 nightstands that I am going to paint to match this dresser. So they don't look like it now, but they are going to become a set when I am finished, and sets sell way faster and for more money in the end, so that is why they are my favorite thing to do. So let's get started sanding. Alrighty, so I am finished up with sanding the top. I was just doing a quick scuff sand, so it was nothing crazy. I just really wanted to scuff it up a little on the top and then see if I could get these scratches out or to just be a little bit less. So that is what I was doing. Now I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up and head back inside. Okay, I am using plastic wood filler and I am going to just touch up a few spots. There's just a few like deeper gouges than I could get while sanding, so I'm gonna put a little bit of wood filler in it and then come back and sand it down a little bit later when it dries. When you're doing wood filler, you wanna have it a little bit higher than the actual piece because you wanna be able to sand it down and make sure it still fills the hole. What I like about this is that it changes color when it's dry. It won't be long and it'll start changing to like a tan color and then it'll be ready to sand. So I tried to get this off with a sander, didn't really work too well, so I'm gonna attempt to get it off with Goof Off. Never really used this before, but well, the Goof Off is working with a little bit of elbow grease. What do you guys use to get off sticky things off of your furniture? Comment down below. See if you have any other suggestions for me. I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm gonna use the whole can of Goof Off first. I just found some Goof Off or Goo Gone in my garage, so I sprayed that on there. It smells horrible, so we had to open up the garage to air it out. I'm just gonna let it set for a little bit and hopefully I can scrub it off. I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna spray more. I kind of switch between what I clean with. Today I'm going back to Crud Cutter. Sometimes I use Dawn dish soap. As long as it has a degreaser, then you're good. So I'm gonna spray this down and then wipe it down. Get all that grime from other people off before we paint, and also that helps the paint adhere well to the furniture. Oh, by the way, not sure, I haven't looked into it too much, but I can't get these drawers out easily. They just stop, so I'm just probably gonna leave them in for this flip. The next thing I'm gonna do while I'm still waiting for these things to be ready to put the primer on is I'm gonna go ahead and undo the hardware because we've got to get that off before we prime. Actually, since I am planning on taking the hardware and switching it out with, instead of having a single hole, it's gonna have double. I just remembered I also need to put wood filler in these holes to cover those up. That's what I'm gonna do before the primer. So they glued this piece of hardware on using the Phillips. I just keep stripping the screw. So I'm gonna try the small flathead, see if that works. What the heck, people, don't glue hardware to the dresser. That doesn't give anyone an opportunity to change it later. What in the world? Also, although I am changing out this hardware, I always be sure to keep the hardware that I don't use because I might use it in the future for another flip, because these are really nice, cool wooden pieces of hardware, and they could be easily painted if I didn't want the wood color. I have a stash going on. It's getting kind of out of control, but I'm fine with it. I can't believe someone was giving this away for free. The drawers are in such nice shape, hardly any blemishes. Like, it just baffles me sometimes, but I'm not mad about it. So since I'm replacing the hardware, I'm gonna fill the holes with my wood filler. One good thing about what I'm doing with these is it'll cover the hole, so it's not super necessary that I get it perfect, but I still do want to fill it. And what I'm kind of doing is pushing it in there, shoving it in, and then kind of scraping it along, making it as flat as possible, but again, still having a little bit of excess on top for sanding down. That's gotta dry now. I actually need to measure the nightstands as well to see if I need to fill those holes too, or if I could be able to use those for the hardware. So let me go grab the new hardware. All right, dang it. It is a little bit too long for it, if you can kind of see. It's like probably 1/4 of an inch. Since it's so close too, then I'm gonna have to figure out, I can't use one of the holes because then that would be off center. But since it's so close, I can't make new holes right next to it because that would just go into the other hole. So I might have to raise or lower it just a bit. And then with filling those holes, well, either way, I have to put the wood filler in. So, okay, so I am continuing to wait for that wood filler to dry. So what I'm gonna do is grab the hardware, and it's new hardware, but I am gonna change the color of it still by using the spray paint. I'm gonna use satin nickel today. I haven't used this on my channel before, but this is a really popular finish for hardware in my area. Well, it's coming off, but it's just taking forever. We've gotten some parts off. I'm just mostly using this Goo Gone. Had some recommendations on Instagram. The Goo Gone is working in spurts. Got a little bit of section off here. Still working on the rest. But I'm gonna try using a razor blade. It kind of helps because I'm not really worried about the finish of the furniture piece itself, since we're gonna be painting over it. So if it gets scratched and stuff, it's okay. I really just want to get this sticky stuff off. So it is all gone. I used my razor blade and I let Goo Gone sit on there for 2 or 3 hours. And I used some strength and I just finally got it off. So I'm gonna make sure this dries well, and then I'm going to wash it with Crud Cutter, probably Dawn dish soap, just to get all of that yuck out and so that it doesn't ruin the paint job. Okay, the wood filler on the top of the dresser and the fronts of the drawers from filling the holes is finally dry. So I'm gonna take my little sander and sand it down, then wipe everything down with tack cloth and get the primer going. Alright, so for primer today, I'm going to be using the Zinsser Bin Primer with shellac. And since these 3 pieces are pretty dark wood, I'm gonna go ahead and prime to seal everything in. I don't want the color popping through. I am using chalk paint, so generally you don't have to prime with it. You don't have to do anything, but because these are dark, I don't want the color of the stain popping through my white. So I'm just gonna take an extra precautionary step and go ahead and prime first, and then I will paint. Okay, all 3 pieces are primed. They're gonna dry for just a little while. I'm gonna go check on the hardware. Looks like it's not gonna need another coat. So, oh, hello dogs. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it on inside. Looks pretty good. All right, so brought the hardware in, and now I'm gonna go ahead and paint with my Rustoleum chalk paint linen white. I've used this in a flip once before. I've also got my 2 brushes. I'm gonna be using this little good one for trim and edges, and then a little wedge brush from just Menards. I am gonna go ahead and start with the big dresser and then move on to the nightstands. I think it'll only need 2 coats, hopefully only 1, but I'm pretty sure most of the time chalk paint needs 2 coats. Let's get the first coat going. And it's my favorite part, the fan. Get all that dry. All right, ready for coat number 2. Still using the Rustoleum chalk paint. On the second coat, I really like to make sure that I go in the same direction, make it all look really nice. Now with brush strokes, those are inevitable when you're using chalk paint. You can make it look a little bit more nice when you just go up and down the same way or side to side the same way. But brush strokes, you're gonna have them with chalk paint. So kind of have to just look past that. That's the whole look of chalk paint, is to have some brush strokes. All right, I am back in the garage. I ended up going to bed last night and only finishing the second coat of the big dresser. So I'm about to do the second coat of the small nightstands, and then we're gonna move on to the top of all three of them, and I'm gonna be painting that gray. First, we're gonna do the second coat on the nightstands. Okay, got the second coat finished up on the nightstand, so I'm gonna grab my gray. It is also Rustoleum chalk paint, and I have found a pretty cool design that I enjoy doing, and I haven't done it in a while, so I'm excited to show you guys. Just another little different type of technique that you can do to get a different look on top. So I'm gonna be using the Rustoleum aged gray. And then, like I said before, I am going to be using the smoked glaze from Rustoleum chalked paint and get it a little bit of a glazed look on the top. So let's get the first coat of gray on the top of the nightstands and the dresser. Nice light gray color going on the top. Okay, the first coat of the gray is on and is gonna dry for a little while. I'm gonna put my fan on it and then I'll be back to do the second coat here shortly. Second coat is done on the top of those. Here, I'll show you real fast, and then that's gonna dry overnight again before I do the smoked glaze on the top. So now that the tops of the gray is dry, I'm gonna use my smoked glaze from Rustoleum. It's chalked paint, but it's a decorative, so it's for the top of the chalk paint. It kind of looks a little bluish, but once it goes on, it's kind of like stain and it'll lighten up. I'm gonna paint it on and then I'm gonna wipe it away. Now, I don't know if this is the real right way to do this. This is just my technique to get the look that I wanna get. So I do half at a time. Okay, so all three pieces have the glaze on it now, and then I'm gonna let it dry a little bit before I put the top coat on and the hardware. All right, while we are waiting for the top of the glaze to dry, I'm gonna distress and then I'm gonna top coat the rest of it, and then we'll top coat the top. I'm gonna be using this sander, the hand sander, for the distressing. You just want to lightly go over where the places you want to distress. Distress means just kind of take away the paint, just give it a little bit of character. And so I'm going to do that in places where it might actually get some wear and tear. Top coat time. The top coat is the most important part of flipping furniture. If you are going to paint it, you have to put a top coat to protect your work. I am using the Rustoleum chalk paint matte finish top coat, so I generally like to match the top coat with whatever paint I used. It's not necessary or like a bad thing if you don't do that. That's just my personal preference, so I'll probably just continue to do that. This is how the hardware turned out, and it's a little different where I'm going to be putting the screws in the front of the hardware instead of coming through the back of the drawer. So we're going to go ahead and get that put on. All finished with the hardware, which means the pieces are done. The set is complete. They all look the same, so Let's take a look at them. I think they turned out really nice. It's kind of fun to go back to my roots again, kind of like the farmhouse dresser, but this one was even more because I always, in the past couple of months, have been getting away from what I did in the original stages of my flipping journey, where I would do it all white and I would do the gray top with the stained or the smoked glaze tops. It's fun for me to be able to share this experience and this technique with you guys, and it's nice and easy to do, so it's super beginner friendly also. I ended up listing at $400, and you guys are going to be really proud of me. After listing that for $400, I had several inquiries for less than I had posted it for $300, $350, $200 even. So lots of people that were wanting to get a lower price. And as I said in my past video, I was going to make it a thing that 5 days I was going to wait until I lowered any prices. So I stuck to my word and I waited, and it actually only took 2 days for me to get the full $400 that I asked for. I even have a Venmo deposit in my bank account, and they are going to come a little bit later today to finish the payment and pick up the set. So thank you for the encouragement for waiting, and I'm so glad that I did, so that I could get $380 profit. Just for a recap, the dresser we got for free thanks to Demetria again for putting me on this, and the nightstands were from a thrift store, so this was a separate set. The nightstands were $20. Shout out to my mom for finding those. Paint, primer, hardware and top coat and all that good stuff was around $20, so $40 in total, and then I sold for $400, so that is a total profit of $360 going straight toward my student loan debt. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and maybe you were able to pick up on a few tips, such as using 2 different sets to make one set for a little bit of a higher profit. That is one thing that I just really love doing, because it's fun to match the sets when I'm flipping, and then who doesn't like a little bit more money in the end? So thanks for watching, and get subscribed below, like this video below. If you have ever done something similar where you matched sets, let me know down in the comments how it went for you. And follow me over on Instagram at Furniture Flipping Teacher. And as always, I'll see you on the flip side.